A black waitress donated blood to save a little girl, not knowing her kindness would bind her to a Korean mafia boss forever. The emergency room doors burst open at 3:47 a.m., and Imani Brooks looked up from restocking gauze to see chaos incarnate. Paramedics wheeled in a small body, a child, maybe 6 years old, covered in blood. Behind them ran a man who made the fluorescent light seem dim by comparison. Korean, early 30s, with a neck tattoo that crawled up to his jaw like dark flames. His expensive suit was soaked in blood, his face a mask of barely controlled terror. "Save her," he said, voice cutting through the ER noise like a blade. Not a request, a command. "Whatever it costs, save my daughter." Imani had been a phlebotomist at Mercy General for 4 years. She'd seen desperate parents before, heard their pleas and prayers, but something about this man's intensity, the way his hands shook as nurses pulled him back, the raw anguish in his eyes made her chest tight. She watched them rush the little girl into Trauma Bay 2, saw the doctor's grave expression, heard the words that made time stop. "She's AB negative, massive internal bleeding. We need blood. Now." "We don't have AB negative in stock," the blood bank tech said, panic creeping into her voice. "Citywide shortage. Nearest hospital with supply is 40 minutes away." The man, the father, looked like he might kill someone. His jaw clenched so hard Imani could see the muscle jumping. "Then find it. Buy it. I don't care what it takes. I'm AB negative," Imani heard herself say. Every head in the ER turned to her. "I can donate. Right now." The doctor, Dr. Patel, a woman who never showed emotion, looked at Imani with something like hope. "You're sure? Direct transfusion is risky. We haven't screened you recently." "I donated 3 weeks ago. Clean bill of health. And that little girl doesn't have 40 minutes. Imani was already rolling up her sleeve, moving toward the trauma bay. "Let's go." The father grabbed her arm as she passed, his grip iron strong but not painful. Up close, she could see the tattoo was a dragon, intricate and beautiful, smoke curling from its nostrils. His eyes were black as midnight and swimming with tears he refused to shed. "You'd do this? For a stranger?" "She's not a stranger," Imani said quietly. "She's a child who needs help. Now let me go save your daughter." Something shifted in his expression. Surprise, gratitude, something deeper she couldn't name. He released her arm and Imani followed Dr. Patel into the trauma bay, where a little girl with her father's eyes fought for every breath. They hooked Imani up to the machine, her blood flowing through clear tubes directly into the small body on the table. The child was beautiful despite the trauma. Delicate features, black hair matted with blood, a Pororo penguin backpack somehow still strapped to her tiny shoulders. Imani watched the monitors, saw the numbers slowly stabilize, felt the weakness creeping into her own limbs as her blood became someone else's lifeline. "What's her name?" Imani asked the nurse, adjusting her IV. "Gia, Beck Gia, 6 years old. Car accident. Drunk driver ran a red light." The nurse's expression was grim. She coded twice in the ambulance. "Your blood is the only thing keeping her alive right now." Through the glass partition, Imani could see the father. He stood absolutely still, hands pressed against the window, watching his daughter with the focus of a man trying to will life back into her body through sheer force of will. Other men had joined him, Koreans in dark suits, all wearing the same expression of controlled violence. They deferred to him, spoke in rapid Korean, but he never looked away from Gia. "Who is he?" Imani asked, though part of her already knew. You didn't command that kind of respect, that instant obedience without being someone dangerous. The nurse's face went carefully blank. "That's Baek Hyun-woo. He owns businesses in Koreatown. Very powerful man. Lost his wife 6 years ago during childbirth. That little girl is all he has left in the world." The words hit Imani in the chest. 6 years. Jia's entire life, this man had been alone, raising a daughter while grieving a wife. And now he stood on the edge of losing the only piece of her he had left. The only family he had. Code for Mafia, Imani thought. Gang leader. The kind of man her father had warned her about before gang violence took him when she was 12. Wrong place, wrong time. Caught in crossfire that wasn't even meant for him. She'd built her entire life around safety, predictability, staying far away from anyone who lived in that world of guns and blood and early graves. And now her blood was flowing into the daughter of exactly that kind of man. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so terrifying. How much longer? Dr. Patel asked, checking Imani's vitals. Another 10 minutes. You're doing great, Imani. Gia's stabilizing. You're saving her life. Weakness swept through Imani in waves, but she kept her eyes on the little girl. On Gia, who was 6 years old and like Pororo, and had a father who looked at her like she was his entire universe. A father who'd already lost the love of his life and was fighting with everything he had not to lose his daughter to. When they finally disconnected her, Imani tried to stand and nearly collapsed. The nurse caught her, guiding her to a recovery chair with orange juice and cookies. Rest. You gave a lot. Your body needs time to recover. But Imani couldn't rest. She watched through the glass as doctors worked on Gia, as monitors beeped steadily instead of frantically, as the little girl's chest rose and fell with growing strength. And she watched Baekhyun-woo, this dangerous man with the dragon tattoo, as his shoulders finally relaxed when the doctor emerged with a nod. Gia was going to live. The moment the doctor spoke, Hyun-woo's knees buckled. Just for a second, one brief moment where the iron control cracked, and he grabbed the wall for support. Then he was upright again, thanking the doctor in rapid Korean. But Imani had seen it. The moment where a father's terror transformed into relief so profound, it nearly destroyed him. Imani was finishing her juice when Baekhyun-woo entered the recovery area. His men stayed outside. Bodyguards, she realized, not friends. He moved with the grace of a predator, every step controlled, purposeful. Up close, she could see he was younger than she'd thought. 32, maybe 33, with a face that would have been beautiful if it wasn't so carved by grief and responsibility. The neck tattoo was even more intricate than she'd realized. A dragon protecting a lotus flower. Smoke-forming Korean characters she couldn't read. You saved my daughter's life. His voice was rough, wrecked from emotion and hours of held-back tears. I don't have words for what that means. You don't need words, Imani said. Just take care of her. Love her. That's enough. It's not enough. Not nearly enough. He pulled out a business card. Black, expensive card stock with gold lettering. My name is Baekhyun-woo. Whatever you need, whatever you want, it's yours. Money, protection, opportunities, name it, and it's done. Imani looked at the card but didn't take it. I don't want anything. I did what anyone would do. No. His eyes met hers, intense and unwavering. Most people would have looked away, would have let someone else handle it. You rolled up your sleeve without hesitation for a child you'd never met. You gave your blood, literally gave pieces of yourself to save my daughter. That's not something I can ignore or forget. Then don't ignore it, remember it. And maybe next time you see someone who needs help, you'll be the one rolling up your sleeve. Imani stood carefully, still weak but steady. I need to get back to work. You should go home, rest. I'll arrange. I'm fine. And I don't need anything arranged. She met his eyes with more courage than she felt. Your daughter is alive. That's all the payment I need. Something in his expression shifted. Respect, maybe, or curiosity, or the beginning of something neither of them was ready to name. At least tell me your name, so I know who to thank when I pray to my wife's memory, so I can tell Gia who saved her. The mention of his wife, dead for 6 years, dead giving life to the child Imani had just helped save, made her throat tight. Imani Brooks. Imani Brooks, he repeated, like he was memorizing it, like it was something sacred he needed to preserve perfectly. I owe you a life debt. In my culture, in my family, that's not something taken lightly. It's eternal. Then in my culture, I'm telling you we're even. Take care of yourself, Baekhyun-woo. Take care of your daughter, and stay away from drunk drivers. She walked away, feeling his eyes on her back, and tried to ignore how her heart was racing. From blood loss, she told herself. Only from blood loss. Not from the intensity of his gaze, or the way he'd said her name like it was the answer to a prayer. Not from the way this dangerous man with the dragon tattoo had looked at her like she was something miraculous. Amani thought that would be the end of it. One dramatic night, one saved life, then back to normal routine. But the universe had other plans. The flowers arrived at her apartment the next morning, white chrysanthemums and purple orchids, expensive and elegant, with a card that read, "For the angel who gave my daughter life. Your kindness will never be forgotten. With eternal gratitude, Baek Hyun-woo." She tried to refuse them, but the delivery man was already gone. The flowers sat on her tiny kitchen table, beautiful and out of place in her cramped studio apartment in mid-city. The next day brought a gift basket, Korean snacks and teas, expensive gourmet items Amani had never heard of, and a children's book. The card, "Gia woke up this morning. She's asking about the nice lady who helped her. She wants to thank you herself. The book is her favorite. She wanted you to have it. BHW." Amani opened the book, a Korean story about a girl and a tiger, with English translation on facing pages. Inside the cover, in careful child's handwriting, "Thank you for saving me. Love, Gia." Below it, a drawing of two stick figures holding hands, one small, one larger, both smiling. Something cracked in Imani's chest. This wasn't about the father anymore. This was about a 6-year-old who'd almost died, who was scared and grateful and wanted to say thank you. How could she refuse that? On day 3, instead of gifts, there was a handwritten letter. Expensive stationery, masculine handwriting that was surprisingly elegant. "Ms. Brooks, I know I have no right to ask anything more of you. You've already given more than anyone should have to give. But Gia asks about you every day. She calls you her angel Unni, big sister. She's having nightmares about the accident, and the only thing that calms her is talking about you, about how brave you were, how kind. The doctors say seeing you might help her process the trauma. I would never normally ask this of a stranger, but you're not a stranger to us anymore. You're the reason my daughter is alive. Would you visit, just once, so she can thank you properly and maybe find some peace? I'll understand if you refuse. Your kindness has already exceeded anything I could have hoped for. But if you can find it in your heart to meet her, we would both be grateful beyond measure. Baek Hyun-woo." Imani read the letter 3 times, hearing his voice in every word. Formal, respectful, but underneath, desperate. A father trying everything to help his traumatized child. And Gia, 6 years old, having nightmares, calling Imani her angel. She texted the number from the business card. "I work at the Sunrise Diner in Koreatown until 6 p.m. I can visit after my shift if that works." The response was immediate. "I'll send a car to pick you up. I can drive myself. Just send me the address. Pediatric Recovery Wing, Mercy General, room 512. And Imani, thank you. You have no idea what this means to us." Imani stared at her phone, wondering what she was getting herself into. She'd given blood to save a life. That was supposed to be the end of it. Anonymous, clean, safe. But now she was about to walk into the world of a man who ran the Korean Mafia, who commanded respect through fear, who lived in violence. Except that same man had written her a letter by hand, had respected her boundaries, had a 6-year-old daughter who was having nightmares and needed comfort, who'd lost his wife bringing their child into the world and was raising her alone in a dangerous world. Maybe, Imani thought, people were more complicated than the boxes she tried to put them in. Room 512 was twice the size of a normal hospital room. Private, luxurious, more like a hotel suite than medical care. Gia lay in the bed, tiny in the white sheets, connected to fewer monitors than before, but still fragile looking. She wore pink pajamas with bunnies on them and had a stuffed tiger clutched to her chest. And sitting beside her, reading a Korean picture book in a soft voice, was Baek Hyun-woo. He looked different. The hard edges had softened. He wore dark jeans and a black sweater instead of the blood-soaked suit, though the neck tattoo was still visible, dragon smoke curling up to his jaw. His hair was slightly messy, like he'd been running his hands through it. He looked young and exhausted and utterly devoted to the small person in the bed. "Appa, is that her?" Gia's voice was tiny but excited, her eyes going wide. Is that my angel, Uni? Hyunwoo looked up, and the smile that transformed his face nearly stopped Imani's heart. It erased years of hardness, revealed the young father underneath the dangerous exterior. Yes, sweet girl, that's Imani, the kind lady who helped save you. You came! Gia tried to sit up, wincing, and Hyunwoo immediately steadied her with gentle hands. Appa said you might be too busy, but you came. Imani moved closer, her chest tight at the sight of this small, brave girl. Of course I came. I wanted to see how you were doing, and to meet you properly. I'm Gia. I'm 6 years old, and I go to elementary school, and I like drawing and pororo and tteokbokki. The words tumbled out in a rush, her accent adorable. And you're Imani, and you saved my life. And Appa says you're very brave, and gave me your blood, which is super cool because now we're like blood sisters, right? Imani couldn't help but smile, warmth flooding through her. I guess we kind of are. Can I hug you? Is that okay? Gia looked between Imani and her father, seeking permission. Hyunwoo's expression was carefully neutral, giving Imani space to refuse. But how could she refuse this sweet child who'd almost died? Of course you can hug me. Gia's arms wrapped around Imani's neck with surprising strength for someone so recently in critical condition. She smelled like hospital soap and something sweet, maybe the juice box on her bedside table. Thank you for saving me, she whispered. Appa cried a lot. I've never seen him cry before. He said I almost went to heaven with Yama, but you stopped it. You kept me here. Imani's eyes burned with tears. She glanced at Hyunwoo and saw his jaw clenched, emotions warring across his face. Your Appa loves you very much, she managed. He was very brave too. He's the bravest. Gia pulled back, her small hands on Imani's cheeks. But you're the bravest because you didn't even know me, and you still helped. That's what angels do. I'm not an angel, sweetie. I'm just a person who was in the right place at the right time. That's what angels are, Hyunwoo said quietly, his eyes meeting Imani's. People in the right place at the right time who choose to help. You're her angel whether you accept the title or not. Something passed between them in that look. Recognition, connection, the beginning of understanding. Imani looked away first, focusing on Gia. Your Appa tells me you're having trouble sleeping. Want to tell me about it? Gia's brightness dimmed. She clutched her tiger tighter. I keep dreaming about the car, the lights, the glass breaking, and I'm scared that next time my angel won't be there. Oh, sweetie. Imani sat on the edge of the bed and Gia immediately curled into her side. Being scared is okay. You went through something really frightening. But you know what? You're so much stronger than you think. You survived. You're here. You're healing. But what if something bad happens again? Then we deal with it. Your Appa will protect you. I can see how much he loves you. And you have doctors and nurses and people who care about you. Bad things happen sometimes, but good things happen too. Like us meeting. Like you being here. Getting stronger every day. Gia was quiet for a moment, processing. Then, will you visit me again? While I'm here? Appa says I have to stay for 2 more weeks. Imani hesitated. This was dangerous territory. Getting attached to this child, to this family. But Gia's hopeful eyes and Hyunwoo's carefully neutral expression that didn't quite hide his own hope made the decision for her. Yeah, I can visit. I work late most nights, but I'll come by when I can. Gia's squeal of delight was worth every risk. Did you hear that, Appa? She's coming back. We can show her my drawings and read stories and let Imani breathe, Hyunwoo said with gentle amusement, but his eyes on Imani were warm with gratitude. She's very kind to visit at all. We shouldn't overwhelm her. I don't mind, Imani found herself saying. Actually, Gia, I have tomorrow off. What if I came during the day? We could spend more time together. The smile on Gia's face was blinding, and the look Hyunwoo gave Imani, like she'd just given him the world, made her pulse race in a way that had nothing to do with blood loss. Imani started visiting every other day. She'd tell herself it was for Gia, for the little girl's recovery, and that was mostly true. Gia blossomed with each visit. Her nightmares lessened, her smile came easier, her energy returned. They drew pictures together, read stories, played simple games. Gia taught Imani Korean words, giggling at her pronunciation. Imani taught Gia about her work at the diner, about her own childhood in Inglewood. But it wasn't just Gia that kept pulling Imani back. It was Hyunwoo. He was always there, sometimes in a suit if he'd come from business, sometimes in casual clothes if he'd been there all day. He never intruded on Imani and Gia's time, but was always present, watching his daughter laugh with quiet joy. And slowly, carefully, he and Imani began to talk. She was everything I'd ever wanted, Hyunwoo said one evening after Gia had fallen asleep. They stood by the window, watching the city lights, keeping their voices low. He was talking about his wife, Haiwan. We grew up together, fell in love young. Everyone said we were too young, too reckless. But we knew. What was she like? Imani asked softly. Fierce, brilliant. She wanted to be a lawyer, fight for justice. She hated what my family did, the violence, the crime. But she loved me anyway, said she'd reform me. His smile was bittersweet. She was 8 months pregnant when complications started. The doctors said it was her or the baby. There wasn't time for both. Imani's throat tightened. She chose Gia. Without hesitation, she made me promise to tell Gia every day that she was wanted, loved, that her mother chose her life deliberately, that it wasn't Gia's fault. His voice cracked. And I've kept that promise, every single day for 6 years. But Imani, when I saw Gia on that table, when I thought I might lose her too, I understood what Haiwan felt, that willingness to trade yourself for your child. I would have given anything, my empire, my life, everything. But you didn't have to, Imani said. Gia is here. She's alive and healing. Because of you. He turned to face her fully, and the intensity in his eyes made her breath catch. You didn't know who I was. Didn't know about my money or power or connections. You just saw a child who needed help and acted. Do you know how rare that is? How many people would have looked the other way, not wanted to get involved? I couldn't look away. She's a baby. And you looked like your world was ending. It was ending until you stopped it. He stepped closer, not touching, but close enough that Imani could see gold flecks in his dark eyes. I want to know you, Imani Brooks, not as the woman who saved my daughter, but as yourself. I want to understand what makes someone that selfless, that brave. I'm not brave. I'm terrified right now. Of what? Of this. You. Of feeling something for a man whose world I swore I'd never enter. The confession escaped before she could stop it. My father was killed by gang violence when I was 12. Crossfire in Inglewood. Wrong place, wrong time. He was a bus driver, a good man. And he died because people like... She stopped, realizing what she was about to say. People like me, Hyunwoo finished, his expression closing off. You're right to be afraid. Right to want distance. My world kills good people every day. But you're also a good person, Imani said, surprising herself. A good father. You love your daughter with everything you have. You honor your wife's memory. You're trying to help Gia heal. That's not nothing. It's not enough to erase what I am, what I do. He turned back to the window, jaw tight. I run one of the largest Korean organized crime families in LA. I've hurt people, destroyed lives, made decisions that haunt me. No amount of being a good father changes that. Then why do you do it? If it haunts you, why not leave? Because it's my family's legacy. Because hundreds of people depend on the jobs and protection we provide. Because leaving creates a power vacuum that would start a war. His hands clenched into fists. And because until 6 days ago, I didn't have a reason good enough to try. The implication hung between them, heavy and dangerous and thrilling. Hyunwoo, I know it's too soon, too complicated. You barely know me. He looked at her again, and the vulnerability in his eyes nearly undid her. But I can't stop thinking about you, about the way you looked at Gia with such gentleness, The way you touched my arm that first night and told me to let you save my daughter. The way you've come back every other day despite having every reason to stay away. I come back for Gia. Do you? Only for Gia? He moved closer, and Imani couldn't back away. Didn't want to. Because I think you feel this too. This pull, this impossible, complicated thing that makes no sense but won't go away. Even if I do, Imani whispered, what would that mean? I'm a waitress who lives in a studio apartment. You're a crime boss with enemies and bodyguards. We exist in different universes. So we build a bridge between them. His hand came up, hovering near her face, not touching but so close she could feel the heat. Imani, I've spent 6 years existing for Gia. Just existing, just surviving, just keeping my promises to a dead woman. And then you walked into my life and suddenly I remember what it feels like to want something for myself, to want someone. This is insane. Probably, but my life stopped making sense the night my wife died. Maybe insane is exactly what I need. Imani should have stepped back, should have reinforced boundaries. Instead, she found herself leaning into his almost touch. I don't date, haven't since college. I don't trust easily, and I definitely don't trust men who live in your world. Then don't trust me yet. Just give me a chance to earn it. Spend time with us. Let Gia keep healing with you around. Let me show you that I'm more than my worst decisions. His thumb finally made contact, brushing her cheek so gently it felt like a prayer. Let me try to be someone worthy of the woman who saved everything I love. If I say yes, Imani's voice trembled. If I agree to try, I need honesty, complete honesty. No hiding what you do or pretending your world isn't dangerous. I need to know what I'm walking into. I can do that. Full transparency. His hand dropped, though the loss of contact felt physical. But Imani, some of what you'll learn will make you want to run. I won't judge you if you do. And Gia, if this doesn't work, if I can't handle your world, she's already attached. How do we protect her from that? Pain crossed his features. We tell her the truth, that sometimes people come into our lives for a season, and we're grateful for the time we had. Gia has already lost her mother. She understands grief. I won't lie to her about you, whatever happens. The answer was so honest, so clear-eyed about potential hurt, that it made Imani's decision for her. Okay, let's try. Slowly, carefully, but let's try. The smile that broke across Hyunwoo's face was like sunrise, bright and warm and full of hope. Thank you for another chance at life, for Gia and for me. The next 3 weeks blurred into a new routine. Imani visited Gia 4 or 5 times a week, timing her shifts at the diner around hospital visiting hours. She'd bring coloring books or simple crafts, would read stories and play games and listen to Gia's excited chatter about going home soon. And she'd talk with Hyunwoo. Long conversations after Gia fell asleep, where he kept his promise of transparency. He told her about his father's empire, built on protection rackets and gambling and smuggling. About inheriting it at 25 when his father was killed by a rival gang. About the violence he'd committed to secure his position, to keep his people safe, to survive in a world where weakness meant death. I'm not proud of it, he said one night, staring at his hands like he could still see blood on them. But I'm not ashamed either. Every decision I made kept my family alive, kept Gia safe. In my world, morality is a luxury that gets you killed. Do you want out? Imani asked. If you could walk away, would you? Yes, God, yes. The answer was immediate, fervent. I want Gia to grow up away from this. Want her to go to college, fall in love with someone safe, live a normal life. But leaving isn't simple. My position protects hundreds of people. Legitimate business owners, immigrant families, people who depend on us. So you're trapped. I'm committed. There's a difference. He looked at her. But meeting you makes me want to find a way out. Want to become someone who doesn't make you flinch when I talk about my work. I don't flinch. You do. A little. Around the eyes. When I mention anything violent. His observation was uncomfortably accurate. And you should. What I do is violent. But Imani, I'm trying to transition us toward legitimate operations. It'll take years, but I'm working on it. For Gia's future, and now, for the possibility of you. The confession made her heart race. You barely know me. You can't restructure your entire life for someone you've known less than a month. Can't I? You restructured your entire schedule for a child you'd never met. Gave your blood without hesitation. Came back again and again, despite knowing what I am. That tells me everything I need to know about who you are, which is someone worth becoming better for. Gia was discharged on a Tuesday afternoon. Imani had arranged to have the day off, unable to miss this milestone. She arrived at the hospital to find Gia dressed in a yellow dress with butterflies, practically vibrating with excitement. I get to go home. Imani, I get to go home. She launched herself at Imani, who caught her carefully. And Appa says you can come visit our house. Can you? Please? I want to show you my room and my toys and my drawings and… Breathe, sweet girl, Yunwoo laughed, coming over with Gia's discharge papers. He looked lighter than Imani had ever seen him. The perpetual tension in his shoulders finally eased. Yes, Imani is welcome anytime. If she wants to come. I'd love to see your home, Imani said, meaning it. She wanted to see where this little girl lived, what her normal life looked like. Then follow us, Hyunwoo said. Unless you prefer to ride with us? My car is more comfortable than… He glanced out the window at Imani's 15-year-old Honda Civic. Most vehicles. Imani laughed despite herself. My car runs fine, thank you. I'll follow you. The drive took them into the hills above Koreatown, to a neighborhood where houses had gates and security cameras and price tags Imani couldn't imagine. Hyunwoo's home was stunning. Modern architecture, clean lines, floor-to-ceiling windows with views of the city. The kind of place that appeared in magazines. Inside was a surprise. Imani had expected cold minimalism, all black and gray and sharp edges. Instead, she found warmth. Traditional Korean art hung beside Jia's crayon drawings. Expensive furniture was covered with blankets and pillows. A wall of photos showed Jia at every age, and in several, a beautiful Korean woman with kind eyes. Haiwan, Imani realized, Hyunwoo's late wife. That's Iyama, Jia said, following Imani's gaze. She's in heaven, but Appa says she watches over me. He talks to her picture every night, tells her about me and what I did that day. Hyunwoo's ears reddened slightly. Jia, why don't you show Imani your room? I'll make us some snacks. Jia's room was the explosion of color and creativity. Drawings covered every surface. Toys organized by type. Books in both Korean and English. A reading nook with pillows and fairy lights. And more photos. Jia with her father. Jia with what looked like extended family. Jia at school and parks and beaches. Appa says I can redecorate however I want when I'm older, Jia explained. But I like it how it is. Iyama picked the colors before I was born. Yellow because it's happy. Appa kept everything exactly how she wanted. The love in every detail. The care taken to honor a dead woman's wishes, to surround their daughter with joy, made Imani's eyes burn. This man, this dangerous crime boss, had created a sanctuary for his child, had preserved his wife's memory while giving Jia permission to eventually make it her own. They spent the afternoon in domestic simplicity. Hyunwoo made Korean snacks, tuk and fruit, tea for the adults, and juice for Jia. They sat in the living room, Jia between them on the couch, showing Imani her favorite books. At some point, Jia fell asleep, exhausted from her first day home, her head in Imani's lap. She never does that, Hyunwoo said softly, looking at his daughter with wonder. Falls asleep with anyone except me. She's always been cautious with people. Maybe she feels safe, Imani whispered, running gentle fingers through Jia's hair. She's not the only one. Hyunwoo's eyes met hers across Jia's sleeping form. I feel safer with you around than I have in years. Like maybe the world isn't all danger and darkness. Like maybe there's still room for something good. Hyunwoo, I'm falling in love with you, he interrupted, the words quiet but certain. I know it's too soon. I know it's complicated. but I can't not say it anymore. You walk into a room and everything gets lighter. Gia smiles more. I breathe easier. You make me want to be the man Haywan hoped I'd become. Imani's heart hammered against her ribs. I don't know what I feel yet. It's all so fast, so intense. I know, and I'm not asking you to say it back. I'm just asking you not to run, to keep giving us, me, a chance, to let this grow at whatever pace feels right to you. And if it doesn't grow into love, if I can't get past your world, then I'll be grateful for the time we had, for you helping Gia heal, for you showing me it was possible to feel something again. His smile was bittersweet. But Imani, I think you feel something too. I see it in how you look at Gia, how you lean toward me when we talk, how you haven't run screaming despite knowing exactly what I am. Maybe I'm just as crazy as you are. Then we'll be crazy together. He reached across Gia's sleeping body, his hand finding Imani's. Stay for dinner. Let me cook for you. Let us pretend for one evening that we're just normal people falling for each other. Imani should have said no, should have maintained boundaries. Instead, she squeezed his hand and said, Okay, let's pretend. Dinner was a revelation. Hyunwoo moved through his kitchen with practiced ease, preparing bulgogi and banchan while explaining each dish. Ji-ah set the table with careful concentration, telling Imani about her school and friends and upcoming dance recital. Appa learned to braid hair from YouTube videos, Gia announced proudly. He's really bad at it, but he tries so hard. Sometimes I have to fix it before school. Hyunwoo's embarrassed laugh was adorable. Haewon would have been much better at that stuff. I do my best. You do great, Imani said. Gia is happy and loved and confident. That's what matters. They ate family style, passing dishes and laughing at Gia's stories. It felt achingly normal. A father and daughter, and the woman slowly becoming part of their world. For just a moment, Imani let herself imagine this as her life. Coming home to this house, to these people, to laughter and warmth instead of her empty studio. After dinner, Hyunwoo insisted on walking Imani to her car. Gia gave her a long hug at the door. You'll come back soon, right? Tomorrow? I have work tomorrow, but I'll come the day after. We can draw together. Promise? Outside, under the glow of landscape lighting, Hyunwoo walked close enough that their hands brushed. Thank you for today, for being here for her, for us. I wanted to be here. The admission felt huge. Hyunwoo, I'm still figuring this out. What I feel, what I want, but I care about Gia. And she hesitated. And you? He stopped walking, turning to face her. I care about you too. More than I should after such a short time. More than is probably smart. She forced herself to meet his eyes. You scare me. Your world scares me. But you also make me feel things I haven't felt in years. Make me want things I thought I'd given up on. Like what? Like family. Like belonging somewhere. Like maybe I could be more than just someone who serves coffee and exists paycheck to paycheck. Tears pricked her eyes. You and Gia make me feel seen. Important. Like I matter beyond just what I can do for others. You matter to us. So much. He cupped her face gently, thumbs brushing away tears she hadn't realized were falling. Imani, I meant what I said. I'm falling in love with you. And I'll wait however long it takes for you to figure out what you feel. A week, a month, a year. I'll wait. You might be waiting forever. Then I'll wait forever. He leaned closer, and Imani's breath caught. But I don't think I'll have to. I think you're falling too. I think you're just scared to admit it. Terrified, she corrected. Good. That means it matters. That means it's real. His forehead touched hers, and Imani felt the carefully constructed walls around her heart crack wider. Be terrified, I am too. But be terrified with me. Let's figure this out together. She kissed him. Couldn't not kiss him. Her hands fisted in his shirt and she pulled him down, pressing her lips to his with all the confused want and terror and hope churning inside her. He responded immediately, one hand tangling in her hair, the other spanning her waist, pulling her closer. The kiss was gentle despite the intensity, a question and an answer, a promise and a plea. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Imani whispered, I'm not saying I love you. Not yet. I know. But I'm not running either. I'm staying. I'm trying. I'm giving us, a real chance. The smile that broke across Hyunwoo's face could have powered the city. That's all I need. That's everything. The next 2 months were the happiest of Amani's life. She integrated into Hyunwoo and Jia's world gradually, carefully. Dinner twice a week, park trips on weekends, Jia's dance recitals and school events, movie nights where they'd curl up together on the couch. Jia between them, eating popcorn and laughing at animated films. Hyunwoo courted her with old-fashioned attention. Flowers delivered to the diner, handwritten notes, small gifts that showed he paid attention to her likes and interests. A book by her favorite author. Tickets to a play she'd mentioned wanting to see. A necklace with a small pendant shaped like a lotus flower. The symbol from his tattoo. It represents rebirth, he explained when he gave it to her. Growth through adversity. That's what you are to me. My chance at becoming something new. They hadn't slept together. Imani had been clear she needed to take things slow physically, and Hyun-woo respected that without question. But the tension built between them with every touch, every kiss goodnight, every heated look across the dinner table. At the diner, her co-workers noticed the change in her. "Girl, you're glowing," her friend Destiny said one shift. "Who is he? And why haven't we met him?" "It's complicated," Imani hedged. "Complicated means good. Complicated means interesting." Destiny hip-checked her playfully. "Spill. He's a single dad. Korean. We met through unusual circumstances. And he's amazing with his daughter and treats me like I'm precious and makes me feel things I didn't think I could feel anymore. But, but he's in a dangerous line of work. And I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. For something to remind me why I swore off men like him." "What's his work?" Imani hesitated. "Import-export." Destiny's eyebrows rose. "That's code for Mafia, isn't it?" "Girl, you're dating a gangster?" "I'm not. We're not. It's complicated." "You said that already." Destiny's expression turned serious. "Imani, honey, I love you, but your daddy died because of gang violence. Are you sure about this?" The question haunted Imani for days. Was she betraying her father's memory by falling for a man who lived in the world that killed him? Could she really accept Hyunwoo's life? Or was she setting herself up for heartbreak or worse? The answer came in an unexpected way. Imani was leaving the diner late one night when a car pulled up. Not Hyunwoo's Mercedes, but a different vehicle. Two men got out, and every instinct screamed danger. "Imani Brooks?" The first man's smile didn't reach his eyes. "We need you to come with us. Mr. Beck wants to see you." "Hyunwoo knows where I work. If he wanted to see me, he'd call." "Not Beck Hyunwoo, his associate? Someone who's very interested in the woman who's been spending so much time with his daughter." Fear spiked through her. This was it. The danger she'd been waiting for. The proof that Hyunwoo's world would destroy her. But before she could run, before she could scream, a third car arrived. This one she recognized. Hyunwoo's Mercedes. He emerged with 3 of his men, and the temperature dropped about 20 degrees. "Touch her, and I'll end you where you stand." Hyunwoo's voice was nothing like the gentle father she knew. This was the crime boss, the man who commanded through fear. "Lee sent you?" The men paled. "Boss Beck, we were just threatening the woman I love. Tell Lee that this is his only warning. He stays away from her, from my daughter, from anyone associated with me, or I forget every treaty, every agreement, and remind him why my family runs this city." The men fled. Hyunwoo immediately turned to Imani, all hardness melting into concern. "Are you hurt? Did they touch you?" Imani was shaking, adrenaline and terror making her knees weak. "I'm fine." "Who was that?" "Who's Lee?" "A rival. Someone who's been testing boundaries, seeing if he can find weaknesses." Hyunwoo's jaw clenched. "I should have anticipated this. Should have assigned you protection. I'm sorry, Imani. This is exactly what I tried to avoid." "So that's my life now? Being threatened by your enemies? Needing bodyguards?" "Not if you don't want it. I can arrange for you to disappear. New city, new identity, financial support." You'd be safe, and no one would ever connect you to me again. His voice was hollow. It would kill me, but I'd do it to keep you safe. Imani stared at him, at this man who just threatened murder with cold precision, who was now offering to let her go if it meant her safety. And suddenly, she understood something crucial. Hyunwoo wasn't like the men who'd killed her father. Those had been reckless, violent for violence's sake. Hyunwoo was violent for protection, for love, for survival in a world he was trying to leave. I'm not running, she heard herself say. But Hyunwoo, we need to talk, really talk, about what it means for me to be with you, about the risks and the reality. Okay, let me take you home, somewhere safe, and we'll talk about everything. They went to his house. Gia was spending the night at Hyunwoo's sister's, something he'd arranged when he realized Imani would be getting off late. Now Imani understood why. He'd known danger was circling. How long have you known they might target me? She asked, accepting the tea he pressed into her, still shaking hands. 2 weeks, since Lee's people started asking questions about you. I've had guards watching you. You just never saw them. His expression was grim. I was trying to handle it quietly without scaring you. Clearly, I failed. I want in. What? If I'm going to be part of your life, part of Jia's life, I need to understand your world completely. Not the sanitized version you've been giving me. The truth, all of it. What you do, who your enemies are, what risks exist. I can't make informed decisions if I don't have information. Hyunwoo looked torn. Imani, some of what I'd tell you, it might change how you see me. Make you realize you can't do this. Maybe, or maybe it'll help me understand better. But either way, I deserve the truth. He was quiet for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, ask me anything. I'll answer honestly. So she asked. About his operations, the legitimate businesses that served as fronts, the illegal activities that funded everything, the network of protection and extortion and smuggling that supported hundreds of families. About his enemies and allies. About the violence he'd committed personally, the men he'd killed to secure his position. I've killed 4 people, he said, voice flat, all in self-defense or defense of my family, but I still killed them. I've ordered deaths, more than I want to count. I've hurt people who threatened my operations, and I've made decisions that destroyed lives to protect my own interests. Do you regret it? Some of it, the innocent casualties, the collateral damage, but protecting my family, keeping Gia safe? No. I'd do worse to protect her, to protect you. Imani processed this, the brutal honesty of it. And getting out? You said you wanted to go legitimate. I'm working on it. Transitioning operations to legal businesses. Negotiating with authorities for immunity in exchange for information on rival organizations. It'll take years, but I'm committed to it. For Gia's future, and now for any future with you. What if I asked you to walk away? Right now? Leave it all behind? I'd start a war I couldn't control, a power vacuum that would get dozens of people killed, destabilize the entire Korean community's economy. He met her eyes. And Gia and I would spend the rest of our lives looking over our shoulders, waiting for someone to find us. That's not safety. That's just running scared. So we stay and deal with it. Or you leave and live normally, away from all of this. Imani thought about her empty studio apartment, her routine life at the diner, the safety she'd built after her father's death, a safety built on isolation and fear. Then she thought about Gia's laughter, about feeling seen and valued and loved, about Hyunwoo reading bedtime stories and learning to braid hair and looking at her like she was everything. I don't want safe anymore, she said slowly. I want real. I want you and Gia and this complicated, messy, terrifying thing we're building. But Hyunwoo, I need you to promise me something. Anything. Promise that you'll keep working toward legitimate, that you won't give up on getting out, that you'll do everything you can to give Gia, to give us a future that doesn't end in violence. I promise, on Haiwon's memory, on Gia's life, I promise I'll get us out, however long it takes. Okay, Imani set down her tea and moved closer to him. Then I'm all in. Fully, completely. No more holding back. You're sure? Imani, after tonight, you know exactly what you're signing up for. I won't blame you if... She kissed him, hard and desperate and certain. I love you, she said against his lips. I'm terrified, and this is probably insane, but I love you. I love Gia. I love the family we're becoming. And I'm not running. The sound Hyunwoo made was halfway between a laugh and a sob. He pulled her onto his lap, arms wrapping around her waist, face buried in her neck. Say it again, please. I need to hear it again. I love you, Baek Hyunwoo. I love your daughter. I love the man you are and the man you're trying to become. And I'm choosing this, choosing us, whatever comes. They made love that night with desperate intensity, a claiming and a promise. Two people deciding that what they had was worth any risk. And afterward, lying tangled together in Hyunwoo's bed, Amani felt something she hadn't felt since her father died. Hope for a future worth building. 6 months later, Imani stood in Hyunwoo's living room wearing a simple white dress, Gia beside her in a yellow flower girl dress, bouncing with excitement. They were getting married, a small ceremony, just close family and trusted friends. No elaborate affair, no public spectacle. Just vows exchanged in the home they'd built together. You look beautiful, Hyunwoo breathed when he saw her. He wore a traditional hanbok, black and elegant, the dragon tattoo barely visible at his collar. Like everything I never knew I needed. Appa's crying again, Gia stage whispered. He cries a lot now. Happy crying. Amani laughed, tears streaming down her own face. I know, baby. It's okay to cry when you're happy. The ceremony was brief but meaningful. They exchanged rings and vows, promises to protect each other, to build a legitimate future, to love Gia and any children who might come, to face whatever dangers arose together. And when the officiant pronounced them married, Gia cheered so loudly that everyone laughed. You're my Yama now, Gia declared, hugging Imani tight. For real, forever. Forever, Imani agreed, her heart so full it hurt. That night, after guests left and Gia was asleep, Imani and Hyunwoo stood on the balcony overlooking the city. I never thought I'd have this again, he said softly. A partner. Someone who chose me knowing everything I am. I never thought I'd want this, Imani replied. After my father died, I built so many walls. But you and Gia, you didn't climb them or break them down. You just showed me there was a door I'd forgotten about. A way to let people in without losing myself. We're going to have a good life, Hyunwoo said. I'll make sure of it. Whatever it takes, I'll get us out of the darkness and into the light. For you, for Gia, for us. I know you will, and I'll be right there beside you, fighting for it too. He pulled her close and Imani rested her head on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. Somewhere in the city, danger still lurked. Enemies still plotted. The criminal world still waited to pull them back. But here, in this moment, they had each other. Had Gia sleeping soundly in her room. Had a future worth building and fighting for. Thank you, Hyunwoo whispered, for donating blood that night. For saving my daughter. For saving me. Thank you for giving me a reason to be brave. For showing me that sometimes the scariest thing is also the right thing. They stood together as the city lights twinkled below. Two broken people who'd found wholeness in each other, building a family from blood and love and desperate hope. The waitress who'd given without expecting anything back. The crime boss trying to become someone worthy of that gift. And the little girl who'd brought them together, who called Imani Ioma now with such pure joy. It wasn't the life Imani had planned. It wasn't safe or simple or anything she'd thought she wanted. But it was real. It was theirs. And sometimes the most beautiful things grow from the most unexpected places, like love blooming in an emergency room at 3:47 a.m., when a stranger decided that saving a life was worth giving a piece of herself